This shit was so well done, though. This was like one of the most well-made videos. Like, it was just so impressive, dude. Who did this video? Who made this video? Was it Roger? It was? This set's so cool, dude. Bro, all these sets are so damn good, dude. This is sick. Bro, I'm not like right here. I'm not a videographer or anything, but like, how the hell did they do this? This shit looks like so real. Like, how the hell did they do this shit? They have a stadium? Oh shit, true. True, I forgot about that.
One last dance, ladies and gentlemen. This will be my final year competing as a professional Call of Duty player.
All right, so that's the first video. Yeah, they do be having a stadium. I forgot about that. You're right. All right, here. Where's the second one?
This is my last one. I think that it's time for me to move on and start pursuing some other things that I have really wanted to do. And I've really sacrificed a lot to be a competitive player because all of the content that I've wanted to do, all the videos that I've wanted to make, all the ideas that I've had, it's just really, really hard to juggle and balance in this day and age in the CDL because it's just so damn competitive. There's not really much time to do anything else other than be a competitor. And I'm sure that you guys can clearly see that, you know, with how much content I can put out and, you know, even how much content I've put out through this off season. I hope now it makes a little bit more sense that, you know, I'm going into my final season. I've never really taken an off season to kind of just chill out and not really stream as much. I've kind of always just been on during my off season. So hopefully it makes a little bit more sense to you guys now. I'm trying to really build up, you know, and have some energy and steam to go into this last year with some passion and hopefully, again, bring you guys some more chips and hopefully a ring at the end of the season. So thank you guys very much again for your loving support throughout this long career of mine. And, you know, I'll still be around. So this isn't goodbye, but it is saying goodbye to a very long chapter of my life and one that's meant a lot to me. Obviously, I've known nothing but competing and playing on the stage for the past, I think this is my 13th season I'm going into.
Is it really his 13th season?
I'm not really sure which one it is. I lost count. It's been a long season.
I guess so.
Or long career. So thank you guys and much love to you.
What do you guys think, dude? Obviously, I know a lot of you guys have been saying it, but dude, freaking, it's so weird, bro. First of all, that just made me feel so old, dude. That like he was, I know like what his first season was MW2. I'm pretty sure. Technically, I don't know like which ones were counting and which ones were not. That's fucking wild. Yeah, dude, it makes me feel hella old, Tucker. I don't know, bro. It's like so weird. He said like if they win every event, bro, if they were to win every event and champs, hypothetically speaking, like if that were to happen, you can't. I feel like you like. I mean, I guess if you retire on that note, dude, I feel like that would be like obviously elite. You know, you kind of go out like on top. Like, dude, how do you retire if that were the case? Like, how do you possibly retire if you were to just win every single event and champs? It feels like a long time coming too. At the same time, well, I've said that for ever. I feel like Tucker, like I feel like with Scump specifically, he could have easily retired 5 or 6 years ago. I feel people have been talking about Scump retiring for years now, like over and over and over again. I feel like every season is always like, oh, is Scump retiring kind of thing. It's weird because he doesn't need to retire in the sense of skill like at all. Like we've talked about a lot of people retiring before, and even including myself. It's not always due to skill, but a lot of the time when a player retires, it's usually during the moments of like, you know, they're not doing as well as a competitor. They're not winning, or like they're not considered like, you know, at the top of their game, like in general. Where I feel Scump has been considered like a top SMG duo with whoever he's been playing with. He's like usually considered like in the top 4 SMG duos in the league, which is like super, super impressive for how long he's been doing it. What went through your mind when you knew it was time? I just didn't enjoy competing. He does, at least from what it looks like. I didn't enjoy competing nearly as much as a lot of other people did. And what he was saying, how like you have no time and to do anything other than the CDL, like that's super, super true. With him specifically, with how much love he gets, he also gets like triple the hate that most players and anyone that really deals with. So I feel in the sense of him being as good as he is, but still gets as much shit as he does, where he could just stream and have a much more relaxed like lifestyle and still make a shit ton of money and be really happy. Like that kind of shows you how much he truly loves competing. Where I've talked about this, if I were him, I would have retired years ago just because of how much I personally like making content and how much I like to do stuff like that. So I would have done that shit years ago because I don't really enjoy competing as clearly as much as like some other people do. And on top of that, his content is incredible. It's incredible on YouTube. It's incredible on Twitch. Like all his numbers do really, really well. It's cool he gets to call it on his own terms and not because his skill like fell off a cliff. Yeah. But it's weird because he might be one of the first people. I don't know if I'm correct about this. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he might be one of the first people though that is still at a pretty high point in the league when it comes to being considered a good submachine gun player and whatnot. There's been a few. Scump could easily compete for like another 3 or 4 years and still be considered like a really important sub player to have on your team. You know where I'm coming from with that? Like when I retired, dude, I was the worst player on my team and I was more the veteran leader. And it was more like if I was going to be on a team for the rest of my career, I was going to be the leader. And that's like what I was bringing to the table, is my leadership and organizing young talent around me. I wasn't considered like, oh, if you had Crowder on your team, like he was still like one of the best ARs or best SMGs you can have. Where like Scump's like the opposite. Like Scump could easily be considered a top SMG duo like he is every year with whoever his SMG duo is. And he's usually up there in the talks of like being in a super important sub on the team. Does that make sense? It's a weird situation because he's not even close to the skill falling off a cliff. So like if he gets to do it on his own terms, I mean, I would have done it if I was him. I would have retired years ago. Like I said before, that shit is super stressful, especially with him. I feel like you always see like when OpTic's doing bad or anything of the sort, like you always see like Scump getting like hella hate. It just never makes any sense. Like we've talked about this so many times on my stream, but he just gets so much like hate. It doesn't make any sense considering how good he is and how good he's consistently been for so long. It's pretty wild. Like he said, from watching you, Crowder, it's a lot to juggle. Oh, dude, yeah, it's an impossible amount to juggle. To be able to do content and really enjoy it and also be in the CDL like as a player, it's almost near impossible. That's why it's really hard for him to stream and make YouTube videos. So it's dope that he gets to do it on his own terms, and I get why he's doing it. But like, it's so weird because how good he is the wild thing. Like this has to be one of the first times you see a player retire on his own terms. He's had a very successful career. He's basically done everything. You know, he's won a world championship, the X Games, majors. He won a recent CDL championship like last year, season one, major one. Like he's done everything that you really can do as a player. It's just wild considering how good he still really is. But it's definitely super exhausting mentally. Like I can even attest to that for sure. What retired pros do you think can return the comp? I mean, if you're asking me honestly, not many. I think a big thing with retiring of what we're kind of talking about is just having a lot of other responsibilities and stuff like that too, and having a life outside of the CDL and how competitive the CDL is. You have to drop like literally everything and again go full-time CDL. And if you're not really doing that, you're kind of letting everyone else around you down, like in the CDL world, your teammates and your coaches or whoever you're playing for. I don't think a lot of the retired pros could return the comp and like be really good. I think the angle a lot of them would have to come at it with, like if you're using myself as an example, you would have to be like the leader, teaches the younger talent or this like the talent around you how to be organized and how to win. And at that point, why not just coach instead of playing and kind of having someone that can be more skilled in your position do it? You know what I mean? That's why I prefer to coach. Even if I could be on a team and I really did enjoy it, there's always like there's just another AR player that could do it probably a little bit better than me, and then I can kind of teach them how to do it. You know what I mean? That's how I would do it, at least. In a lot of jobs, there is times when you call it. I spent 27 years in the military and it's hard to keep up with the young crowd. Yeah, it's just like, it's just a lot. Like, it's just so weird because of how good he still is. But yeah, my overall take on this is this has to be the highest skilled player retiring, like in his current moments. Like he's still playing really, really good. With that being said, him retiring is like kind of crazy to see is all. But at the same time, like I could totally understand it. And I would have done it earlier if I were him, just because of how awesome his content does. This video has me in shambles. It has a lot of us in shambles, man. I'm just glad there's a crop of young talent that's been coming up the last 3-4 years that can carry the torch. Yeah, there's a lot of really good players, man. Bring to the table the leadership and let go of the stress of competing aspect. For sure, there's a lot less stress in the coaching world when it comes to the competing aspect, but there's also a whole nother side that I wasn't even expecting, but obviously I've gotten used to it now, of the coaching that like you deal with in like a different stressful way. Every single time my team loses a match, rotation, it's all my fault. And if it's all my fault, I'm a shitty coach. I'm the worst coach. And then if my team wins everything, I'm the best coach in the world. I mean, like, look at JCap. JCap's the best example of that. Bro, JCap went from being the worst coach in the league, all the 100 Thieves fans in my chat saying, fire JCap, that guy's a fucking idiot, like all this shit. They're all coming back like, we miss you, Crowder. Like, you were the best coach in the world, blah, 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 blah. And then they win champ. They kind of suck in the beginning of the last year, too. Everyone's still blaming JCap. This team, they need to blow it up. LA Thieves is fucking shit. And then they win back-to-back events, including champs. And everyone's like, oh, JCap's the best coach ever. He's the coach. You know what I mean? It's the same fucking people that were saying you suck and like you need to be fired are the same people. Everyone loses faith in coaching so quickly. So it's definitely still pretty stressful, but it's definitely not nearly as stressful as being a player, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a different type of stress because it's super annoying when people that have no idea what they're talking about critique you. And it's just, and they have no idea what's like going on behind the scenes and they're like critiquing you. So you're just like, bro, like what? At least as like a player, if you're playing bad, you can't argue with the fact that you're getting shit on. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, to obviously wrap it up with the Scump video, in my opinion, it's fucking awful that he's retiring because of how good he is and the icon he is to the scene. But at the same time, with how stressful it can be, and I think he deals with the most stress out of anyone in the league, in my opinion, like by far. So I think with him dealing with all that, like good on him for doing it on his own terms, and hopefully they have a good season, of course. There's also a part of me, and maybe this is more like the hopeful part, but like the next season ends and like he kind of pulls like a, nah, I'm not retiring, you know? What if like MW2 is a game where he plays incredible, right? He has a crazy season, you know, like one of his best seasons. He plays really well, which is highly possible with how skilled he is. He plays really, really good. And then he's like, I fucking love this game. I'm coming, you know what I mean? I'm coming back. Like, I don't know. I know he just got engaged and he has a lot of other stuff in life going on. So I'm sure like there's so many other things factoring into it. But I could see him coming back, pulling a Tom Brady, dude. But we'll see. We'll definitely see.